Iain from R.T.O here. Welcome to what I can only describe as the darkest day ever in Northampton. It's what, about 9:30 in the morning, and I've still got a light on so I can record. Well, there you go. That's the local weather. Today on the channel, it is quite a bit of a tribute day, because the artists we're featuring today both have sadly passed away within the last couple of weeks. So firstly, we're going to talk about Dan McCafferty, the brilliant and unique singer of the band Nazareth, who sadly passed away on the 8th of November, aged 76. Obviously, he was more renowned for his work in Nazareth, which he founded in 1968, and until his retirement in 2013. And that classic lineup of Dan McCafferty, Manny Charlton, Pete Agnew and Daryl Sweet. I was so lucky to actually see that lineup at Milton Keynes Bowl in 1984 on the End of the Road tour. Apart from one band, that was a great day. I mean, I got to, first time I ever saw Marillion, and that was great. But apart from Quo that day, my second favourite band of the day was Nazareth, because I've grown up on Nazareth. They're just a great band with a great singer, and I felt so humble now that I did see them, because sadly the only one that's still with us is Pete Agnew, because Daryl died, Manny's passed, and now Dan. But Pete's son is now in the band on the drums, and their latest album is terrific. Go and check that out. I'll put a link in for that in the description box for you. So Dan actually made 3 solo albums, and we are going to have a look at this. So I only own the one, but I have had listened to the other 2 very quickly since the 8th, and I'm going to just rank them. I mean, one of them's brilliant, the other 2 were okay. I'm not going to add them to my collection, but we're going to have a look at them. So, coming in at number 3 was his second solo album he released in 1987, Into the Ring. Now, there's not much information about this. I did find the album on YouTube, which was good, but it didn't give me a chance. Who did what? But it says that Manny Charlton was a composer and songwriter, Joseph Ferrero was a performer, Lewis Howard was a performer, and of course Dan McCafferty was the vocals, and something called Project Pitchfork. There's not much information. So the first track here is called Into the Ring. It starts off, it's got that 80s production on it, unfortunately, but Dan's vocals sound absolutely brilliant. It's not a bad little track, to be quite honest. Backstage Pass, though, it's got that horrible 80s drumming and that horrible keyboard sound that you got in that period of time. No, although Dan again sounds great. Starry Eyes, it's just overproduced. They even sort of tried to change Dan's vocal a bit, and it just didn't work. Sunny Island, it's not too bad. For the Car, it's just poppy, and I don't associate Dan with poppy 80s stuff. Caledonia, now this isn't too bad. I don't mind that one. It's got a nice little beat to it, that 80s rock beat. I think what helps is having Dan sing it. Then we got the Sweet Nowhere. It's split into little bits. We got the first bit, it's called Heading for South America. It's such an 80s sort of sound. It's alright. The Departure, it's very short, but it's that nonsense 80s thing that I just don't like. Southern Cross, not too bad. It's very good vocal from Dan, I must admit. Then we got my favourite bit, my favourite track on the album. It's called Where the Oceans End. It's really rocky. Sounds quite rock and roll. Not too bad. Sally Mary, overproduced. Not impressed. Islands in the Sun, it's got that cheesy keyboard sound which just does not do nothing to me. Albatross, it's not bad for an 80s rock track. We've Been 100 Men and Heading for the South Reprise, overproduced again. The first thing I am going to point out about this album is Dan's vocal. There's nothing wrong, apart from that one track where they try to tame him, and you do not tame this man. But the rest of it, the production is that 80s claptrap that just a thing of the time. So it's not the best album in the world, I'm afraid. So I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 2 out of 10. Well, Kayleen coming in at number 2. Now this is probably his last ever recording that he did in 2019, and it's called Last Testament. Again, there's not much information. It's got Dan on the vocals, bagpipes and whistles, Cameron Barnes, electric guitar and acoustic guitar, Wojciech Burs. It's quite a folky album, this is. Very Scottish, and it's not too bad actually. The first track is called You and Me. It's a very sort of folky song, but considering Dan was suffering from COPD, he could still sing, and he does a fair job on that one. Then we get a track called Why. Not a bad song. He's still got that gravelly voice, and yeah, I don't mind that one. Looking back, again, it's a very nice sort of folky Scottish song. Pleasant enough. It's pretty cool. Then we get a track called Tell Me. The lyrics in this are really good. I don't know if it's a song about him reflecting his life, but it's a really good song, and I quite like that one. I Can't Find the One for Me. His voice is a little bit strained on this. He's trying to hit notes that he really couldn't. I mean, I'll give him his due, he tried, and it's not bad, but he did struggle there a little bit, I think. Look at the song In My Eyes, that gravelly voice is there, acoustic guitar, works well, I like that. Home Is Where My Heart Is, lovely vocal, lovely song, I like that track. My Baby, this is my favourite track on here. This is, I think, his last real blast at proper rock music. Very strong vocal. I like that track a lot. Refugee, another lovely song. I just can't believe how ill he was probably when he made this album, and he still sang a fine performance on there. Mafia, another song I think he did struggle on, and I'm not calling him at all, because I just think I respect him. He wanted to do something. With COPD, it does make you breathe funny. I mean, I knew someone that had it, and he suffered, poor chap. Then we got Sunshine, which is a lovely interpretation of a Nazareth song, and Pete Agnew comes and does some backing vocals on it, and it's not too bad. And there's another great track on here called Nobody Home. It's a great song. Now, I don't know who does the duet with him. I cannot find her name anywhere. I spent nearly an hour trying to find out who sang with Dan on this. It's a really nice track. Then we got Right to Fail. It's got a bit of a Parisian feel with it on the accordion. And it's got a bit of that Alex Harvey feel to it as well. I like that. Then we have got my favourite track, Bring It On Back. This again is great little rocker. You know, he's trying one more blast at the rock that we all love him for, and it's not a bad track. Then there is an acoustic version of You and Me, and it's still a really nice song to end the album. On the whole, this is a pretty decent album. Now, considering Dan had got COPD, I'm amazed that he actually made this album, and I don't mind this album. I haven't got it, but it's available on Spotify, so if I want to listen to it again, I will. But I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 6 out of 10. Now, coming in number 1. Now, this is an album I've had. When did I buy this? God. But 1983. And it's his debut album. And it's just called Dan McCafferty. Released in 1975. There's a pretty good band on this. There's Dan on the vocals. Zal Cleminson on guitar. Alex Harvey and Nazareth guitarist, Ted McKenna on the drums, Hugh McKenna on the keyboards, Manny Charlton on guitars, and Roger Glover on the bass and percussion. Oh, what a backing band to have. Half of your two mates that were in the band and 3 of them that were in Alex Harvey. Very Scottish. The only one who got Manny Charlton and Roger Glover not long left Deep Purple. So what a lineup. So the first track on this is called The Honky Tonk Downstairs. Great track. Great little honky tonk piano, and it's a great track. Great musicianship. Love that track. But then we get Cinnamon Girl. Love that Hammond sound from Hugh McKenna. Great vocal from Dan. Gravelly and at his best. Then we have The Great Pretender. It's not the best version, but the way when it starts, I'm half expecting Alex Harvey to start singing. It is in the sort of vein of Alex Harvey band. Then we get Boots of Spanish Leather. I love this. Great vocal again from Dan. Some cracking guitar work here from Zal and Manny. Terrific stuff. What you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? Funky rock here. Great bass line from Mr. Glover. I love that track. Out of Time. Again, Roger Glover's bass line is terrific. Hugh's keyboards. Very much in the ambience of Alex Harvey band. Terrific track. Then we got my favourite track, You Can't Lie to a Liar. I love this. This is so glam sort of rock. It's got that Slade feel to it because it's got some violin. It's a great track. One of my favourite tracks that Dan ever sang on. It's terrific. Great musicianship again. Trouble. Love this. It's a nice vocal from Dan. Nice piano here from Hugh. I like that track as well. You Got Me Humming. Great rock track. Nice guitar work from Zal and Manny. Terrific. Stay With Me Baby. It's got brass on it. Probably the weakest song on the track, on the album. And that was it. I think this is a little gem of an album. Absolutely at the top drawer. I don't know if how many people know about this one. Go and check it out. I think it's on Spotify. I mean, what a band to have as you're backing up. Members of Nazareth, Sensational Alex Harvey and Deep Purple. Not a bad backing band, is it? Great musicians. I just love this album to bits. So I'm going to give it an R.T.O ranking of 8 out of 10. So there we go, folks. My little tribute to the great Dan McCafferty. You'll be able to watch the Nazareth album rankings right at the end of this, because I'll put it up, in all the what to watch next. It'll be in there. Plus a few tracks from these albums. I'll put the Nazareth link to the new albums if you've not heard it yet and you want to see what I think of it. So I'll be back in a bit with another tribute, and that's to the first wild man of rock and roll, Mr. Jerry Lee Lewis. So join me for that later. Bye for now.